Hello everybody, my name is Kuro and I'm a goth girl from Portugal. I hope you've been doing well so far. I have been doing, more or less, considering the sickness that I have, the disease that I have. But anyway, not the point of this video. So today I'm going to talk about what it's like being a goth in Portugal. It's a very interesting topic because I know of another goth YouTuber who's also Portuguese and also lives in Portugal, obviously, and she doesn't have as much trouble as I have. So I'm going to tell you the trouble that I have here in Portugal being a goth. So the first thing that you need to know is Portuguese people are very religious. They're basically all Catholic, and they're not practicant or whatever you call that. They don't practice, is what you say, I think. But they like to preach a lot, and sometimes they preach a lot, but that doesn't mean that they're all, good-natured people, wholesome people. If you understand what I mean. And it creates quite the friction when they see me. Especially when I wear my horns, because if you know, I'm a pagan. If you don't know, you know now. And I like to use my horns. They're super pretty. But yes, so like I said, Portuguese people are very religious and they like to judge a lot, even if they don't know you, because people don't have anything better to do. So I'm going to tell you a few examples of what happened to me in the past, and I hope I can make you laugh a little bit. At the time I laughed for some of them. For another one I was just so shocked that I was just thinking, what the have happened here? I don't know how to respond because I usually don't keep quiet. If you know, I answer. I'm not ashamed of saying that. I don't stay quiet, and everyone has a right to have their rights, and has a right to dress as they want and listen to what they want and whatever. So I've been dressing as a goth since I was 15, 16, I think. And even when I was in high school, kids, it's one of the things that pisses me off the most is ignorant people. So kids were always like, you're a Satanist, you're going to a funeral. And sometimes I would answer, and sometimes I wouldn't, because I don't really have the patience as well to be answering everything that happens to me, everything that what people tell me. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't care, just keep talking, keep walking, don't look at me, don't talk to me, So anyway, those were one of the few things that they called me in school, in high school. Another thing was also vampire, but I was like, yes, thank you, vampires are gorgeous. Thank you for calling me a vampire. But another thing that happened, one of the few memories that I have that were quite extraordinary, in a sense, because you understand what I mean. So one time I was with a friend of mine and we went to the mall. And I also do cosplay, if you don't know. I don't do it as often, but... And I was looking for a ring for a specific cosplay. And we went inside that store. I was just looking around, having fun with my friend. We were conversing, looking at the accessories that they had available, at the prices also, obviously. And then it comes this manager. I guess she was a Karen, apparently. And she started yelling, "Please help! We have a Satanist in the vicinities. Could you please yelling at the people and then at me. Could you please step outside and not come inside my store? And I just looked at her like super confused. And I thought, what am I do? What am I going to do in this situation? You know. So I guess I just imagined responding to her and explain to her ignorant mind that I was not a Satanist, but I was just like, whatever, I'll just go outside. My friend was super shocked that this happened. Shocked, but not quite shocked enough, because she saw other stuff happening to me while I was still with her, so yeah. When we were going out, so she was used to it, but not to that extreme sense of hate or whatever the lady thought in her mind. And she was a young girl, you know what I mean? She was just in her 20s. She was 24, 25. I was a bit younger at the time. That doesn't matter. So I went outside. My friend was still looking at the stuff and whatnot, and then she stepped outside as well to keep me company. And the lady, the manager, called for a security guard, and me and my friend, we were just talking. I was just asking her, what the heck just happened? You know, and she was laughing with me and we were talking, and then the security guard appeared, but that security guard in question was a friend of mine, and it still is a friend of mine. We were colleagues in high school, not in high school, in middle school, and he knew me, of course, and he didn't even talk to the manager. He just looked at me and he asked, Anna, what happened? And I told him, and then he looked at the manager, because she was running outside the store, you know, all crazy like, and he looked at me, and then he looked at her, and then he said, don't worry, she's cuckoo in the head. And I started laughing. The manager, it was her turn to be shocked by what he said, and then I just left. And this was one of the times that, you know, people are stupid, and they make these assumptions about you that they shouldn't have without knowing you, and yeah, but to keep me away from a store. But yes, anyway, another time, and this one was more recent, I was waiting for the bus to go to the capital, and I was the first to get there. And this lady, she was an old lady. She was most likely in her 70s, I think. And she just couldn't wait her turn, you know. She just nudged me in my shoulder, like she really pushed me out of the way. And then I said, excuse me, I was here first. I've been waiting for the bus for 20 minutes and you just showed here like 5 minutes ago. And there's also a line of people that are first, you know, than you, and you're just doing this. And then she turned to me with this rage in her eyes. You know, I don't know if you've seen people like that. And she just said, really mad, I don't give a fudge. I'm old and I have priority, and you're young and you don't need to go in first. And then I told her very calmly, because sometimes I love when I calmly explaining stuff to people that are, you know, like that, explosive, and it's mind-blowing that I can be like that, depending on the situation, of course, but still. I was just very calmly said, of course, if you could have priority, but at least you could ask if it could go in first, and not just me, but to the other people as well. And then she just, and then I also said, And just because I'm young, you don't know if I have a health problem or something like that. So you shouldn't judge a book by its cover just because I'm young and you're older. And then she didn't care. The people behind me were also very annoyed that she just had the audacity to do something like that without asking first. That's the main point of focus here, that she didn't ask to go in first if she really needed it, of course. And then she just said something that everybody just... I was shocked. There was a lady behind me, she was in her 40s or something, that she just lost it. You know, what the old lady said to me blew her fuse in her mind. She lost it. So the old lady turned to me and said, "You could wait your turn. You could wait your turn for whoring yourself out." And I was just like, I don't know if I can say this word on YouTube. I'm sorry if I can't, but yes, that's what she said. That I was a whore, apparently. And the lady behind me just... I was shocked. I couldn't say anything. I was not expecting that from her mouth. But of course, bad language comes in all mouths. It comes from a young one, it comes from an old one, doesn't matter really. But it's the nature of what she said and the rage in her eyes, you know, that shocked me. And the lady behind me was just... she turned to the old lady and she was like, "You're a really bad person. You should be ashamed of yourself. Apologize to the young girl if you don't mind. You're a really bad person." And the old lady just turned to the other lady behind me and just said, "Shut up! I'm an old lady. I can do what the heck I want." And she went inside the bus. And the bus driver knew me. And he just asked, "What the hell just happened?" And I told him, and the old lady was in the front seat, so she heard my whole conversation with the bus driver. She didn't say anything. She was just, you know, like minding her own business. "I don't care, it's not like it was with me," and blah blah blah. And the driver just told me, and just looked at me and said, "Don't mind her. Old people sometimes are, you know, like they don't know what you're talking about." And I told him, sometimes they do know what you're talking about. It's just that they use their age to their advantage, and I've seen that happen a lot of times. So yes, so another thing that happens to me quite a lot, but that happens to a lot of goth people, but apparently doesn't happen to this goth YouTuber, this Portuguese goth YouTuber that I don't know her personally, but I know about her. And this doesn't happen to her, and that's because mostly in their everyday life she dresses more casually, you know, and that might not happen because of that. So, you know, what happens a lot to us goth girls, it's being sexualized. But then one time it turned really extreme. I was coming from a friend's house. I was, you know, we were going to the bus stop to catch the bus to go home. And there was this guy, he said a rude comment, of course. But what made it really extreme and a bit scary, because I didn't have anything to defend myself with, was that he started chasing me, you know. So I would go to one street, he would go to that same street. I would turn this corner, you would go to the same corner, you would turn the same corner. And there was this one time that he catched up to me a little bit, and he touched my hand, and he was just like, "Could you hold my hand, please?" And I looked at him and I was just thinking, oh my god, I need to run away from this creep and just find a place to hide. And if he persists, I have to call the authorities or, you know, something like that. So again, I crossed the street, he crossed the street at the same time. I turned into the street, he turned into the same street, so you know, he was really chasing me, and it was so weird. And until I spotted this cafe that was still open, it wasn't that, you know, at night or anything, but it was at the time that most cafes were already closed, like in the afternoon, in the twilight. So yeah, I saw this cafe and I went inside and I told the lady what was going on. And she said, don't worry, if he keeps, you know, because he was still waiting outside. The guy was still waiting outside for at least 5 minutes. I think that was most of it, 5 minutes. He was still outside, and I think she was the owner of the cafe, I don't know. She said, don't worry, if he still is there for a longer time, I'll call the police. You don't need to worry about a thing. You'll stay here and don't leave. But after 15 minutes, he was still there. And while we were, you know, really pondering about calling the police, he just left. I think he got bored of waiting and left. And I was very close to the bus stop, so I just thanked the lady. Really thanked her. Thank you so much for saving my life. And I went to the bus stop and went home, and I never saw the guy again, and everything has been fine since then. But you see how quickly that could turn into something more dangerous if I didn't think and if I didn't saw that the cafe was still open, because there were no more tables outside, the door was, you know, closed and everything, but I saw that there were still people inside, mainly the lady. I don't know if she had a cook or there or something like that, or another employee, whatever. I went inside, the lady still even said that we were closed already, but I said the situation, and of course she let me stay. So, you know, good kind people, hearted people are not always easy to find, but when you find them, you know, it's worth the trouble. So you see how quickly that could turn into something really dangerous, and I think my lucky stars that nothing happened. So yeah, those are the main problems that I've had here in Portugal. So, you know, I think it also depends in where you live. Like I said, that goth YouTuber lives in the capital and people there are not. And she lives in I think she lives in a place that's more liberal, I think. And she doesn't have, as I said, she dresses more casually, so she doesn't have that much trouble. But sometimes I dress really flashy and it causes a lot of trouble for me. But like I said, I don't really care, since it's not that dangerous, except for that guy. But yes, so it'll be a fun thing to hear in the comments down below, to read situations that something happened to you like that, or, you know, just tell me what you want. So as always, I hope you liked this video. It was a short video, but you know, it's educational sometimes. So I hope you've liked this video. So like this video, please leave a comment down below telling me your experience. I would love to hear about them. And I'll see you next time. Bye!